G'day guys, my name's Ash, welcome back to War Thunder, and this on screen right now is the American B-34 twin-engine medium bomber. This aircraft is not to be confused with the Lockheed Hudson, as it shares a very, very distinctly similar body and aircraft characteristics. This is the B-34 Ventura, or Lexington, depending on how you want to call it. It was designed primarily as a replacement for the Lockheed Hudson. The primary difference was not in layout, however, but more in heavy armament compared to the Lockheed Hudson. In terms of major differences, this aircraft is actually larger and heavier than its counterpart, the Lockheed Hudson, so it can accommodate more bombs, more fuel, and dish out towards the enemy. One thing to notice, this aircraft actually has a cockpit. However, it is a placeholder cockpit, which means, for the time being, this aircraft is not complete. It has a working cockpit, yes, and the A-pillars and stuff are all there. However, there are certain textures missing, there are sound glitches, there are bugs. Please keep in mind that this is the dev server. Things are subject to change. The placeholder cockpits also, even if they may be incorrect, they may not change for quite some time. So keep that in mind as well. But for now, we have something nice to look at. Speaking of nice things to look at, Guardian have finally given us a toggle feature to open and close our bomb bay doors. As many of you know, some of the more interesting bomber aircraft within War Thunder have the most unusual bomb release mechanisms, such as the Sunderland Mark III and the B-57B, making bombing in these such aircraft a very difficult task. With the introduction of this new feature, it will allow peculiar bombers the ability to accurately bomb alongside their standard counterparts. The other new feature is the ability to drop a variable number of bombs with one key press. In simple terms, this means that bombers with exceptionally large bomb loads, such as the Tu-4 and the B-29, the Lancaster Mark I and Mark III, and others alike, will be able to drop their large bomb loads with varied precision, also saving its pilots from destroying their keyboard and other controls. I'd say it's a quite welcome feature among bomber pilots in particular. Another change to bombers comes to the removal of the exterior bombing reticle for air realistic and ground forces. Essentially, the arcade bomb marker has been removed, giving way to the untraditional bombing runs that bombers currently take to in air realistic and ground forces. Ultimately, this removes the third-person camera that allows bombers to make low-level runs, constraining them to only using their internal bombing sight. Right, so we are actually going to go and test this feature. For this, I've brought out the B-24, and I heard it has a cockpit. Oh yes, what a lovely cockpit it is indeed. It actually brings me back to the day when I crawled into this tiny little cockpit for such a huge aircraft to actually sit in the space in which normal pilots would operate out of this aircraft, and it's actually quite fascinating because it genuinely feels, apart from the missing controls and some of the missing textures, it genuinely feels like I'm actually sitting inside a bomber, and I enjoy it. It's good. Right, so let's get this thing in the air, shall we? Be right back. Right, welcome back to me in the air flying. I totally did not crash at all. So, I'm just trying to get a position fixed for when I can open my bomb bay. So let's open it, close it, open it. It's an interesting mechanic because now it allows you to do that whole cinematic approach. Open your bomb bay doors, sort of styled video. It's quite an interesting model. One thing they have got right is the catwalk inside the B-24. Although there is a couple of textures missing, but that definitely looks like the bomb bay that I had to clamber through a couple of years ago. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in seeing that. Be warned, it is potato footage. I used a 480 camera, but that's a side topic for another day. So let's open up the bomb bay doors again and see if we can use this multi-drop bomb system. Okay, so I hit it once, 2 of my bombs dropped. Right, let's see if we can hit it again once more. Okay, so then 3 bombs drop, I hit it again, another 3, another 3. So far what I can tell is when you hit the control once, the particular key binding that you've set towards this multi-bomb drop, you hit it once, it'll drop a selection of bombs. It'll drop 1 or 2 bombs. Then if you continue to hold that button down, I wonder if that's a variable, it'll release until you've released the keybind that you have done. To test this theory, I'm going to switch over to the B29, and we're going to go and, well, again, test this feature. Welcome back to the B29. So I'm going to open my bomb bay doors, and we're going to have an investigation into how many bombs there actually are. We know for a fact that this thing can hold 40 bombs. That is a lot of bombs. So, let's honestly test this theory. There are hundreds of bombs in there. Okay. So from my holding the button down and releasing it when I wanted, unleashed all those bombs until the bombs ran out. That was cool. So dependent on how long you hold that toggle button for is dependent on how many bombs will drop out of your bomb bay. I really like this feature. So welcome aboard the B29's cockpit. As you can see to my right, you will have a co-pilot. Behind him will be the engineers, or the navigator's room, and the radio operator. Then you've got the bombardier at the front, but it feels like I'm in the Millennium Falcon. It's just really, really intriguing. I love the look of this cockpit. Again, it says down the bottom, placeholder cockpit, but I'm excited because the B-29 is one of my favourite aircraft. Even though I don't fly it a lot, I enjoy looking at it. It's just a very beautiful aircraft, and a huge aircraft at that. The Tu-4, one of the most cancerous and most aggravating communal aircraft that the world has ever seen for War Thunder. Also one of the most intriguing aircraft because the Russians reverse engineered it and pretty much made it without the Americans knowing. And that was the pure genius. So, I'm just going to open the bomb bay door, and I'm going to test if this toggle feature for the bomb release mechanism works as well as it does on the B-29. And for how long I want. Yep. Right, so it works exactly the same. Same principle. If you have a lot of bombs in a bigger bomber, again, the toggle button will allow you to determine how long you want to hold it for, and that's how many bombs will drop out of the aircraft, provided you have a lot of bombs. And this thing seems to have a lot of bombs. Oh my! Another thing to note, you notice how I said placeholder cockpits. The Tu-4 doesn't have a cockpit at the moment. It's a really interesting view, however, and I could make that really cinematic, I betcha, but it makes me wonder how much the B-29's cockpit differs from the Tu-4. Is it just Russian instruments, or did they completely re-engineer it to their own specifications? Bombers in War Thunder. There needs to be some formulative change to the way that the game is played. We can't keep repetitively bombing out the same kind of not bombers, but the same kind of missions that we go on right now. The side climb off to the left or towards the right, where we go and bomb the alternate bases in each vicinity. Then we go and bomb the main airfield. There needs to be more ground units. There needs to be more focus on team play. There needs to be okay. The Dam Busters. We need a Dam Busters mission for the Operation Ruhr. We need to be able to bomb railway stations and rail lines and docks and naval yards and barracks and hospital. Well, not really hospitals. That would be. Regardless, we need more bombing objectives like military headquarters or that kind of thing. War Thunder bomber gameplay currently is pretty limited, although these changes are 4 years in the making, particularly with bomber cockpits and, well, now the openable bomb bay and the bomb bay deploy. I think these changes come too late in this game. Anyway, unfortunately, all things must come to an end, and, well, the dev server closed on me as I was recording some of this. So the only things I got to take a look at was the B-34, the new Hellcat, and, a couple other things. So I thought I'd just touch briefly on the new mechanics for bombers. I also plan to do many a more video. There's tanks to do, there's Japanese tanks, there's also some ships I'd like to have a look at. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. This next update for War Thunder is going to be pretty large. So yeah, keep an eye out for that kind of content. I hope you all enjoyed. My name's Ash, and I'll catch you in the next one.